All right, all right. We are in Belmar today, and we have a second-time guest. This is the first time that we've had a second-time guest by himself. This is the third time Abdel has been on the podcast. So that those who don't know him, who haven't watched him, this is Abdel from Got Mortgages. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You have your grit shirt on from your first appearance.
I had to bring it out.
Look at that. You've been working out because the sleeves look a little tight.
Yeah, I think I might need a 2X next.
There you go. When you told me XL, I was kind of like, what? Okay. But I don't, anyone tells me their shirt size, I go along with it. I don't ask questions.
Yeah.
So you were here in January.
Yep.
It was a dreary day, and now you're here in the sunshine and the Belmar life where no one in Belmar works and you have cars in the parking lot all day.
Oh, yeah. It always gets fun. I remember coming here when I was a kid. And obviously none of this was here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you would be so happy. I forget, is it it's a deli that's right here?
Beckman's?
Yeah. And we would always go and get the massive, it was definitely more than a foot long. I think it was 18 inches, and we would get the Italian. And then we would tell him, don't put the oil vinegar on it.
Because everybody likes...
And we would take it, and we would go to the beach, and we would get stupid early, 7:30. And and then eat it. So
and everybody liked it a little bit differently, so you didn't want to put that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go to Jersey Mike's and I'll say to them, "Give me a number 7 whole," and I'll give my wife half, and we get different sides on it.
2 different sides. Yeah.
They're pretty good about it, because they'll be like, "Oh, what do you want on this side?" And then what do you want on that side?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So last time you were here, we were talking about the mortgage market and the rates and everything like that, and. Where are we at? How you feeling? Where's the market going?
Yeah, so since January up until probably about 2 weeks ago, right? It's literally been a Six Flags roller coaster. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Actually, even the reference I shared yesterday was like a heartbeat monitor, where it was going up 1 week, down, up 1 week, down, and it was mainly inflation and employment. And, I share videos every 2 seconds about it. But for the last 2 weeks, we're finally truly seeing the cracks that we've been waiting for in the employment market, and then people are spending less money. So for so long, and, we probably see it now when you go to buy something, Klarna, Affirm, all these different buy now, pay later, right? Stuff. That really was around here and there, but not as much. And then for almost 6-7 months, consumer spending was off the charts, right? And the Federal Reserve has a mandate to make sure that inflation doesn't keep going up and the cost of stuff doesn't keep going up, right? And it's funny, when I talk about this stuff, I knew nothing about this stuff 3-4 years ago. I just knew, you wanted an FHA loan or a conventional loan. Your credit sucked. This is what you need to do it. Your credit was good. These are the minimum requirements, and that's basically all I knew, right? Until during COVID was when I started seeing a lot of different importance of understanding economic strategies and the statistics and whatnot. So now when I'm talking to clients, I would say almost half of the conversations just talking more economic statistics as to, hey, I think we should lock today because tomorrow we're going to get the consumer price index report, and for the last few months it's been coming in pretty bad. So let's lock today. If the rates get better in the future, we could do a float down. And clients love that. And referral
So more education and transparency.
Yeah, and education not just on regular mortgage stuff, but more on the market. The media has its own mandate, right, for clickbait and all that stuff, as you know, from a marketing perspective. They're just trying to get everybody the market's going to crash. And everybody's like, oh, crap, let me click on this, right? Wait,
you're not supposed to click on those? Damn, Andrew, got to give a lesson at Wingman on that.
So I think that's the catch, right? So the last 2 weeks, we finally saw the lowest job openings for the last 3 years with the JOLTS report, job opening and labor turnovers, which means that there's not a lot of jobs out there, right?
So employers are not hiring.
Employers are not hiring. And then we also monitor quit rate. Okay. So doing an even deeper dive into economics. And it was almost at a 1.09%. Meaning that people are afraid to quit their jobs because they don't know if they can go and find another job. Right?
So we went from this quiet quitting a couple of years ago during COVID, where people just quit without 2 weeks notice, just on a whim, to now people don't want to quit because there's no jobs for them to get.
Exactly.
So they're going to just be miserable.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that happened actually today is initial jobless claims jumped up to a 10-month high, which means that not only are people afraid to quit, it comes out weekly, the initial jobless claims. Not only are people afraid to quit, but people are now also simultaneously getting let go. And when people get let go, every single week, you have to apply for unemployment jobless claims. That's the highest it's been in the last 10 months as of this morning. So scary stuff, right? But when we talk about this data, this is kind of what we are looking for from a mortgage perspective, right? Because we want to see cracks in the economy. People are losing their jobs. Oh, no. There's not a lot of jobs out there. Oh, snap. People are starting to spend less money. Okay. Today, wholesale inflation also came out, which means that's the cost for manufacturers to make stuff. That also dropped for the first time.
That's good.
So it's a good thing. Exactly. So whenever things are like, oh, snap, that's not necessarily, oh, people are losing their jobs. Holy crap, that's a good thing for us, right? And that's kind of why we've now been seeing the mortgage bond market and interest rates start to drop.
Where do you see the end of the third quarter being?
So the Fed came out 2 days ago, right, in their June meeting, and basically said that they see that. No, yesterday was Wednesday. Jeez.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, today's Thursday.
For those who don't know, today's Thursday.
And they came out and said that they agree that there's been modest approaches to inflation, which is good. This is the first time they've admitted that we actually now see inflation dropping. So they said that there's only going to be one rate cut this year. I think that's probably going to change with what we've been seeing within the last 2 days.
Well, and then with the next month's economic data, if it stays on this trajectory, they're going to have to kind of retreat a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to pivot. So they came out premature in December, if you remember when we got our first one, and I think I even said they were premature, and they said that they were going to cut 3 times.
Yep.
And then since then, it's like, holy crap, people are still spending money. We don't want to cut, because if we cut, it makes things cheaper to make. People are going to want to buy more. And then we're going to go back to where we were during COVID. So to answer your question, I think if we can consistently keep seeing this data start to come in like this, interest rates should drop.
Okay.
We're seeing low 6s right now for FHA. We're seeing, mid 6s for conventional.
And that's for a 30? Or is that for
30
15?
year?
Okay.
30 year.
Perfect.
So, which is, and I stay ridiculously competitive and operate on very tight margins as a direct lender, as the owner of the branch. So I understand what's out there, and I understand what's the competitors. I call them stadium lenders, institutional lenders, and stuff like that. What they're offering, the margins for mortgages is not the same as it was, during COVID. Right? During COVID, you used to be able to make from a bottle of water $10. Now it's the same cost to operate, it's the same thing, but the max you can charge is $5.
Yeah.
Because you have to remain competitive with all these third-party institutions doing the same.
So let's kind of take it away. So you're doing your thing, and you're busy. You're always busy because I follow you on Facebook and Instagram, and I love also I love when you have your kids on. Your son he's hysterical.
He's a maniac.
I love his shirt about the pizza. What is this?
He was wearing it yesterday. He goes, I hope pizza thinks about me like I think about it. Something like that.
Yeah, and I also said to you, I wonder if they have that in my size, because that's a great shirt.
Yep.
I love that. He just seems like he's never had a bad day.
He's a character. We just had parent-teacher conference actually yesterday. And,
it's the end of the year.
I know. It's the end of the year. But, they're doing a recap or whatever.
What'd they say?
They said, thank God he's a great student and all that stuff. I mean, there's like a full-blown curriculum where he goes, and stuff. But his behavior has improved tremendously, which is great because we had him in a different they call it child development center, basically daycare. And the teacher was constantly complaining about him. And then I'm like, well, it's kind of, sort of, not knocking teachers or anything like that. It's kind of sort of your job to watch my 3-year-old son at the time. And then I just got frustrated, so we took him out, put him in a different place, and he's been great. Even his teacher admitted, like, if there's anything, his behavior got better. I think it was just growing into his phase of what he can test and what he can get away with.
I have a feeling you weren't the most easy kid to.
I was definitely not. You see all the cuts and bruises on my face when I was a kid. So he's definitely a character, but, we keep them busy. He does swimming. He does karate.
Oh, awesome.
I think the karate was something that we put
That
him
probably
in
got
new.
good discipline for him.
Yeah. So, and his instructor was tough.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Yeah.
And your daughter's ready for an internship, huh?
She's ready. When you posted that, and I'm like, please, because when she comes into the office, none of my employees get work done because they're sitting there playing around with her, and she's doing this and she's doing that.
If she comes to Wingman, she's working.
Put her to work, please.
She's going to write social. She's going to help with emails and other things.
She does. I mean, that's what she does for us. Like, it's a bad habit. But I think I shared with you, I have a timer on my phone with screen time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be on social media for more than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I post and I dip. So you really won't see me liking and commenting back.
Are you allowed to go on later?
No.
Oh.
Well, you can. It kind of like, how do I say it? Like, when you touch something, you're going to get zapped.
Yeah.
So it's like that, because your phone will trigger you and say, all right, you've exceeded your limit. Do you want an extra 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right.
And, yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, sure. And then you're like, yeah, sure. And then you're like, wait, I think I'm wasting my time.
Yep.
So
the hard part in my business is I have to do
well,
it.
yeah, of course.
I always say, if I didn't have a business that did what I do, would I use social media? That's the trick question.
Yeah.
One day when I sell, I'll get back to you and I'll let you know.
Yep. So my daughter, what she does is she'll comment back.
Mm-hmm.
She'll comment back. She'll strategize on social. She'll look for referral partners and stuff like that. I've had her on our social media. I have my team of virtual assistants, so they're always working with her, searching for different referral partners, messaging them, on my behalf and stuff. So she's got it in her, and it's been honestly, I would probably say for the last 2 years. She was 10, from the summer, and she pushes me to go to the office because most times I'm at home. Yeah. And I pay for an office space that I go here and there. Most of the times I'm at home.
Maybe we should make Wingman Eatontown over there.
I've got all the space in the world, for real. Because I have
you have the little office and the big office.
Yeah, a similar podcast room. Mm-hmm. Then I have a room with the gym.
Yeah,
if you remember.
Yeah.
And
then we have the room with the
for
bullpen.
The employees,
yeah.
And then that. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. So you're doing a lot. You're doing something else in addition to Got Mortgages. That's pretty cool. You're working on this concept called Coastal Connections, where you started multiple networking groups. Why start one? Let's get 7 of them going.
Yeah. So shout out to Keshev, who introduced us to you guys, and it just trajected from there.
And you got connected with Chris Lynch.
And I met with Chris, and I actually met with Chris, I don't remember which event, I think it was the second or third one, where we actually did it right here on the boat.
Oh, on the boat.
Yeah.
Golden Eagle, shout out to Golden Eagle Fishing today.
So we met there, we started,
that's the first time you met Chris?
At that event,
wow.
Yeah. Or he might have been at one of the other places, and it's
at Joe Bella,
maybe didn't connect. Yeah. Over there on a boat, you're kind of screwed. You're in tight proximity. But we spoke. We started bullshitting and started having transactions here and there from a mortgage title perspective. And then he hit me up once, and he was like, "Hey, I have this idea." So I was like, this sounds interesting. Come by my office. Mm-hmm. We hit it off. Chris is a great guy. He's always got these ideas. He's always got the hey, I want to do this and I want to do that.
Is it underneath the fedora where he keeps those ideas?
Probably. I'm a little bit more of the, all right, well, how do we execute? What do we need to put in place? Stuff like that. So, but he's been doing a phenomenal job with the growth part, putting things together.
How many chapters are there?
Right now we're at 9. Getting a lot of interest. Mm-hmm. But what we don't want to do is end up having it saturated. So being a little strategic within the chapters. I don't want chapters on top of chapters. And it's very similar to a lot of the great organizations out there. What we're trying to do is also keep the exposure channel of all the chapters exposed to one another. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing, if you've seen, right? Where aside from you individually knowing your individual chapters, that kind of gets stale after a while. Mm-hmm. And we keep bringing on more people and so on and so forth. But what we're trying to really keep it is the close proximity with one another, right, that you have in your individual chapter, but also exposure to everybody else. Mm-hmm. So like next week we're doing the quarterly happy hour, right behind
At Beach
top of
House.
us, I guess, or behind us. Yeah. So that's going to be cool because, different professionals, and it's not limited to just typical marketing, mortgages, real estate, title. We've got in our chapter, right? We've got contractor, power washer, financial advisor, life insurance, and then your typical realtor title. I actually have a buddy of mine, Dan, who's now interested. Dan the Bugman, the one who won.
Dan the Bugman won Ocean County Wingman Planning Business of the Week.
Yep, I saw that.
You know him?
Yeah, he actually does my house. Great dude. He's been awesome too because anytime I needed anything, and again, working in the back, now I'll just sit there, I'll grab my sparkling waters and I'll sit back there and I'm working. And I started noticing, after he's treated, these little the bees. Mm-hmm. And then one time I'm sitting and I have these posts with the lights, mm-hmm. and there's like a small little crack and they're flying into the crack. So I told him, like, hey, next time, whenever you're coming around, if you don't mind coming. Coincidentally, the following day, the following day, I went to Sweetwater, mm-hmm. in the little Tom's River, I guess, what's it called? Complex, mm-hmm. with the LA Fitness, mm-hmm. and the Turning Point. It was right there. He was there with a different organization during the morning. I was just grabbing a cup of coffee. My wife wanted to go to HomeSense. And it's there, and I told him, and he goes, hey, I'm here. He goes, is it cool if I come by in 10 minutes? Totally. So he was awesome with that, right? And he's been a great connection. But I got introduced to him. We talk about coastal connections. I got introduced to him by Nick and Chris in our group. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, I texted. I'm like, do you guys know any pests, guys? Yep. And then he came in, boom, did the connection, and we did it from there. I think that's the true value of it, right? It's not like, hey, you're mandated to send X number of referrals. You're mandated to send these number of things. You must come. If you don't come, you get a slap on the wrist. Like we're all business owners and individual professionals in our mm-hmm. respective fields. And I hope that if somebody thinks about buying a house or if somebody thinks about needing marketing support or anything mm-hmm. like that, like how many times do I group text you with somebody?
Yep.
Or, hey, my sister-in-law wanted a freaking...
Did she want that still?
10. No, she's got it. And I'm like, do you want to do it? Do you not want to? She goes, oh, well, it's a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, welcome to owning a business.
That's funny.
She does a lot of like fairs and stuff,
mm-hmm.
Which is actually like really cool. I've always seen them around. I don't think I've ever been. Now that she's been going, we've been going.
You've been going, checking
I've been going for the beers, frankly. But and then whenever we go,
that's why your wife drives home every time,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah, she's a DD. But whenever we go and there's no beer, I'm like, son of a gun. I'm like, all right, well, I need to walk around and see if there's a bar around here.
That's too funny.
So yeah.
So Coastal Connections, what's the goal for? How many chapters is in the business plan?
I mean, I don't know if there's a specific set number, right?
Is there a specific number of members you want to have?
Right now, if we were to add up everybody, we're at roughly anywhere from 30 to 40 people. Like I said, I don't want it to get saturated. We're putting so much automation, right, in regards to that stuff. I get a little crazy with that. And I think it's just trying to see where it trajects. It's certainly growing. Chris has got his own ideas of, wanting to grow to different states and stuff like that, like Philly and New York. I like to take things a little slow, especially, how it is in our line of work, mm-hmm. right? I've been doing mortgages for 6 years. And I started out individually as an originator, into a sales manager, into a branch manager, and now we have multiple offices within that. And I think it takes progress, right? Whenever you go, like yourself, you opened Belmar was your second location?
Yeah.
Yeah. You opened Belmar a year ago or 2 years ago?
It's just about a year.
Yeah. But you had Manasquan for like 10. So I think it's taking the necessary steps because it gets very, what's the word?
You don't want to stretch too thin.
You want to do it. Yeah,
you want to do it. You want to have the right
structure,
yeah.
and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of where we're aiming towards. Mm-hmm. But loving the progress. Members have been great. I know a lot of our members internally are using one another.
That's great.
I had Tom Jara come power wash my house.
He power washed my
Washers.
house.
Yeah. Marco, as you guys know, did a massive job in my house with the gazebo and taking out the kids' slide and this and that. Dan doing the pest control, Chris being referred, to other people, Judith being a realtor recommending that. So there's a lot of like synergy happening within that stuff, and it's great to see it progress so far.
That's awesome. All right, so that's going to be a good 2025 initiative.
Yeah, I mean we've certainly seen the first 6 months, right, where it grew. Previously, we were operating within a different organization. I instantly wasn't a fan, and that's kind of where this came about. And there's like I said, a lot of great organizations out there, and we're looking to kind of be up there competing with them too.
In a tougher market, it's great to have all these referral partners and all these people that you can count on to say your name when they're talking to one of their friends.
100%. I think I would say a bulk of my business comes from introductions from not your typical real estate agent, title company. It's more of like, hey, I know a guy. Can I connect you with them?
Yep.
And
you could help everybody, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've got your typical FHA, VA, USDA conventional, but then we do a lot of like non-QM loans, so business owners, bank statement, P&L, 1099, DSCRs, ITIN loans for those who have ITINs and stuff like that, commercial lending as well. So
that's a tough game.
Commercial's tough. And it's right now, especially with where the commercial sphere is, right? Especially with office space, it's tough, and these banks, these investors are very, very, very particular. If there's something that's a little hairy, they don't want to touch it.
I feel like though they can be.
Of course. I mean, look at the commercials. How easy was it for me to get my office in Eatontown? Very easy, right? When I finished my lease in Woodbridge and I was looking for space about a year and a half ago. And dude, anytime I walked into a place, whether it was the owner or the real estate agent who was showing me the properties, they were like, I'm not gonna say begging you, but it was like, hey, are you sure you don't want it? Hey, there's flexibility on the price. And then when you look at the residential side,
there's nothing.
Whole different ball game, right? There's no homes out there, and there's tightness. So,
and I feel like there's certain businesses that want the office space, and there's certain businesses that don't need it as much anymore. I
mean, COVID changed the landscape for, I don't care what business you're in. COVID changed the landscape for probably every single business, right? I could tell you for me, like my originators and processors used to come to the office every single day in Woodbridge. Now, I haven't seen my loan partner, my processor, come into the office to work in like 4 years. Which is fine, because she's productive. We're always on Zoom. My virtual assistants are always on Zoom. Probably sometimes more productive at home than we are in the office, because then you start, talking and this and that. Yeah.
What a cool talk.
And Zoom was like, it was there before COVID, but not like it is now.
No.
Now the second, it's helped too, because a lot of the times I was very quick to jump on the phone with a client.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, let's talk. Now I'm like, hey, let's jump on Zoom. Let's put a face to my voice. Yep. I might be in a tank top in the backyard with the pool in the backyard, but we're talking face to face, and that's my authenticity with the clients, right? We're
fair.
Do you want me to be in a $5,000 suit telling you this or that, or would you rather me speak to you with authenticity and allow my knowledge to dictate what we're looking to get you? So
makes sense. And do the clients like it?
Clients love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always say, hey, excuse my appearance. If you would like me to put my $5,000 suit, I have no problem doing it. Not that I own a $5,000. I would never spend that. Or can we talk freely, and so you can understand the transparency of our relationship, right? And understanding your audience. If I'm going to meet with somebody who's a little older, I'd probably be a little bit more particular with that. So.
You might just want to wear the grit shirt every day.
I would love to.
Listen, show off the guns. There you go. So, all right. I mean, I think you have a great way about where you're going with this. You're working through a market that's a little tricky still, but you're starting to see the rates coming down. You have this networking opportunity where I think realistically that's like
it's a gold mine.
It's a gold mine, and it's just got to be worked. And and keep people getting value. I was talking to Chris at one point about, understanding the referrals too, because then when someone says, "Oh, I don't want to, do it," or I'm going to bow out. Well, you've met these people with it. Not that you want to, you don't want to keep someone in something that they don't want to be in. But like sometimes I don't think people track leads the best. I'm not saying you, because I know you do. You're on top of it. But a lot of guys, especially guys that either are one-man shows or even retail, like it's hard. If you're a retailer, you're the pizza place, your 10th Ave burrito, to know where that person came from. When people walk in, the hostess doesn't usually say, "Oh, how'd you hear about us?" I mean, they should, but from a marketing standpoint, but they don't. But like when you have some of these unique kind of businesses, it's hard to really understand the value. And I think that, if you can show them that value, and I think you guys are offering more than just a traditional networking group where you're offering to help them with their business and help them grow the business. And what could you do really to, help? And I hope as you continue to get bigger, and I think you'll continue to, be that accountable to everybody.
Yeah, so we're actually doing that. So like our last one, every quarter, I will personally go to every single chapter, and we do a full-blown business model, hands-on branding training. Right, we did it in our last meeting in Belmar here last week, and like you saw in the chat, there's so much feedback.
Yeah,
like a lot of positive feedback, and then thereafter, the relationship is not done there. No, it's, hey, here's my calendar, like you saw, please book a time, and then I will personally sit down with you. I'm not asking for a penny, and I'm not asking you to send me your business, just as a courtesy and extension. One, because I'm a nice guy, and two, because I didn't have that when I was getting started, right? I didn't know, like, it was trial and error until eventually the errors started, becoming less and less. Exactly.
But it's hard. It's true. When you start a business, and again, a lot of guys start businesses for different reasons, for freedom, for flexibility, because they don't like working for the man. But not all of them have a business degree or, understand a P&L of a business, and, even what a P&L even means. Like, but, even how to operate. And again, there are times where you need more sales, or you need to reduce your overhead, or you have to, there's other factors that aren't, necessarily until you start really digging into it.
Yeah, you mentioned AI and automation, right? And that is critical within my individual business model. I mean, we've been able to save, thousands every single month.
Yep.
Implementing AI, and it's scary, right? Nobody can argue with that. But do you stay cowered in a corner, or do you eventually pivot and have the ability to see, how can I implement this? Or can I simultaneously hire somebody who is a little bit more of an expert in that respective field, which is going to save me X amount, right? And that's what we've been doing, and we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. And then now our other chapter presidents are like, well, we kind of want in too, right?
Yep.
And then Chris is coming in simultaneously and instituting, his relationships and stuff like that. I mean, he's a beast. He loves going to different events. I'll show up here and there, or I'll text you, "Yo, is it still worth coming?" The other day. But he'll go, man, and that's actually what really prompted us to. I'm like, there might be something here, because I would be in Belmar, then I would randomly at a random event be in like Bergen County, and this freaking guy is here.
Yeah.
And then I went once all the way down to Mercer. I'm throughout the nation, but in Jersey we're everywhere, and I'm in Mercer County at, I think it might have actually been the Mercer County Chamber of Commerce or Princeton Chamber of Commerce.
And he's there.
And he's there, and I'm like, this guy, and that's truly when our relationship flourished. So, and he does a really good job of making sure accountability is in check too, especially because he's like, I don't want to hear from this guy, me. And he does a phenomenal job with making sure all that stuff is in place. So
that's great. Well, I love to see what you guys are doing, and I love to. I'm excited to see the future, and I think that this Coastal Connection is going to really just continue to take off. I think there's a lot of great synergies, a lot of good people that have been introduced through the groups, and I can't wait to see it continue to grow. So,
thank you, sir.
With that, as we wrap up, let's tell people where they can find you.
Yep. So. My website's gotmortgages.com. Our Coastal Connections, coastalconnectionscommunity.com. It's not hard to find me online if you search my first and last name or just PRMG Got Mortgages. And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming in, and
Yes,
let's
sir.
get that rate lower, and let's also hopefully the market will come back for people so they're not unhappy at their jobs.
Yep.
All right. It was awesome to see you, and keep up the great work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.